Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. I'm your host, Stephen D. We are back with the #1 baseball segment. It is opening day, Thursday, Friday, absolutely crazy. So let's bring in the man that is, we couldn't do this segment without him. Back to back. Xavier Scruggs is in the building. What's up, Xavier?
Hey, what's going on, Steve? Hey, appreciate you having me, man. It's crazy that it's opening day, that it's here now. It seemed like for a long time we may not have an opening day, right, during the off season. So I'm excited about today. I'm excited about the future of our game, really, this year. I'm juiced.
I remember talking to you like a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, like texting you like, is today going to be the day? Are they gonna come to an agreement? And
Right,
so
right.
we're here, which is great, which is absolutely amazing. There's so much stuff to talk about. I don't really know where to begin. So I guess the first thing I actually want to get into, because I always talk about this with you, and I think it's a big thing, um, is the news of Julio Rodriguez in Seattle making the team right out the gate, and how Seattle has done such a great job marketing him. You and I talk behind the scenes a lot about marketing in Major League Baseball. It seems like Seattle's doing it the right way. What are your thoughts about Julio, and what are your thoughts about Seattle's marketing to it too?
Man, first and foremost, Julio Rodriguez, J Rod, he's somebody that I met a couple of years ago, and really have kind of kept in contact with him. He trains out here in Tampa where I live. Somebody I've seen work like face to face and how he gets it in right in the off season. So I appreciate that. But then seeing the mental side of what he's done to get himself in a position to be on the opening day roster for the Seattle Mariners. First and foremost, he deserves it. He balled out during spring training. He's balled out up until this point. I love the idea of our game now trying to find ways to push that young player and be okay with them being in the big leagues, make mistakes if they need to, but if they're ready, they're ready. So I love that. And then to your point about like marketing, the Mariners did an amazing job, right?
They
We
did.
saw it on all platforms with them showing the inside of what it's like when Scott Service told J Rod, "You're going to the show. You're going to be on the
So
opening
cool.
day roster." So it gave me chills because it reminded me when I first got called up. But then also him, like they showed him calling his mom and talking to his mom, and his mom saying, like, "I told you, it all happens through God." Like all those things remind you of the sacrifices that players and families go through to get themselves to this point. So I'm excited to see him in the show at the highest level on the biggest stage. But then to your point, Seattle Mariners did it right, and kudos to them for really showing the inside of what that looks like, because when we feel that as fans, like that just draws us to this game and that person even more.
I was telling people on my morning show, I was like, how good their marketing is. We're a Miami-based sports morning show, and we're talking about a Seattle Mariner making the like. That's how
Right.
good their marketing was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. You don't see that too often.
I was blown away by it, and I thought it was so good. And I liked it reminded me of the NFL Hard Knocks, kind of
Right.
how he was sitting down. Hey, you're
Man.
gonna make the squad. It
Exactly
was just
like it.
really good. It was really good. Another thing that I kind of want to get into real quick before we get into everything else is the Miami Marlins. We are a Miami Marlins show. And
Yeah.
so let me bring in real quick exactly what is going on. And that is this staff.
Yeah.
The roster was announced for the Miami Marlins, the 2022 opening day. There's some names up here that I want to go over. Jazz Chisholm, obviously. I think he's going to have a great year. Jesus Aguilar, another person that I think is going to have a great year. I'm looking at this roster here, Xavier. There's 3 or 4 All-Stars here, right?
Mm, yeah.
Right?
No, there possibly could be. And I think what's exciting about the Marlins is, you know, everybody's talking about the other teams in the division.
Yeah.
And the Marlins can kind of go under the radar, right?
They're sneaky good.
We saw what they did in a shortened 2020, right? Getting to the playoffs, beating the Cubs, doing it. And obviously that was a shortened season, but now I look at this rotation that's even stronger since then. I
Mhm.
look at them adding some pieces to the offense, which has been big. I look at them adding a backstop and a Jacob Stallings, who was a Gold Glover last
Yep.
year. Um, so for me, I think this team can really fly under the radar as long as they as long as they take care of business out of the division, right? I think a lot of these teams are going to beat up on each other in the division,
They are.
but if they take care of business out of the division and really win the games that they should win and win those one-run games, I think they'll be all right. I think this is a team that, we've a lot of people have been counting out on a national level, but I don't think you can with that staff. You talk about Alcantara. Oh, you talk about some of those guys that are
Trevor
just
Rogers is the one that I'm looking out for this year, and then their fifth starter is Jesus Luzardo.
that.
He's
That's
he's
what I
not a
mean.
pushover. He's a great pitcher.
No, and I love the fact that these guys, they don't pitch like young bucks, right?
No.
They come right at you. They're coming with the flames, and I
Well,
love that about them.
they
So
made a trade a couple of days ago with the Orioles for Tanner Scott and Cole Sulser.
yeah,
Tanner
yeah.
Scott's got one of the nastiest sliders in all of baseball.
Yeah, and I love that too because they understand how important depth is going to be this season, right? And especially early on because you have some young guys. They're not going to be able to eat up a lot of innings from the jump. So you got to have the depth in the bullpen to be able to spell those guys in the rotation.
28 roster spots. Very interesting, right? Because when you played, there was only 25. How do
Right.
you think that these three extra people on the roster, how do you think that impacts teams? Do you think it's a positive? Do you think it's a negative? Are you happy that there's 28-man rosters now compared to 25-man rosters 4 years ago?
Yeah, I'm happy about it. At least for the first, what was this supposed to be for like the first month or so?
Yep.
Um, so I'm happy about it because it helps the injury factor from a pitching standpoint, but then also you look at some of these teams with a lot of versatility and they can use those extra couple of guys off the bench, whatever it may be, extra relievers. Um, I think the teams that understand how to use that versatility will most benefit from that. Instead of like the last 3, 4 guys on the bench not really playing, no, it's going to be important for those guys to be used and used the right way.
100%. 100%. All right. Let's talk a little bit real quick just about some of the trades that went down. It seems like trades have been going down all the way up to even today. Are there
Yeah.
any trades over the last 72 hours that have kind of stuck out to you? I know
Uh,
Chris Paddock
yeah,
went
the I
from,
w I
you
was
know,
literally just about to say Chris Paddock,
yeah,
going to the Twins,
the
and
Twins
I
all of a sudden look scary good, by the way, in the Central now.
they what they're doing is they like that depth factor. We talk about it a lot. It gets overused, but it's really important because you see teams like the Padres in which, they got guys back in that trade as well. Rogers' brother, right? Taylor Rogers.
Taylor Rogers.
So, excuse me. So
Small
getting
world, right?
guys, yeah, yeah, getting those types of guys is going to be extremely important during the course of 162. But then you also think of the Padres, who were a team that at the last second last year, like they wanted to go out and get more depth, and it just wasn't there. Like they had guys hurt, like you, Darvish, Blake Snell, guys that got hurt
Yeah.
towards the middle of the season, and they didn't have the depth anymore. So Minnesota understands that. The Padres understand that. They understand how important it is to be able to use that, especially early on. The only thing I don't know, like Rogers is such a good closer. I'm surprised to see the Twins actually kind of let him go in that
Yeah.
sense. They needed the starting pitching in a Chris Paddock. So, but they're bolstering. They're trying to bolster the starting rotation. That was one area of weakness, but they've got to do what they can because that offense is gonna cause some trouble. They're gonna bang for sure.
Speaking of trouble, there seems to be this thing about the Atlanta Braves and the LA Dodgers and former players, and there to be some drama with Ronald Acuna and Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I saw
Freeman
that.
did an interview today, or was it yesterday? It was on MLB Network, basically stating, "I love the Ronald Acuna Jr." The reason I asked that, I mean, if you want to comment on it, great. I want to hear from you on that. But if not, how often does that happen in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, though? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens more than most people realize. There's always going to be some form of, I don't want to say hazing, but there's going to be some form of, hey, you've got to earn your keep as a young guy, right? Whether it be, hey, don't sit on the couch because you haven't earned your spot. And we don't, another thing too is we don't know like when these interactions were happening in which Ronald Acuna mentions. They told me not to wear eye black, I think it was, and wear
Yep.
my hat a certain way.
And
So
Freddie
basically,
Freeman was basically saying, "Hey, look, there's a dress code that we have in Atlanta, and you have to
right,
do it that way." And I was just
right.
enforcing it.
Yeah, there's it's understandable guys will enforce it the way they want to enforce it, right? And
Mhm.
um all those things happen all the time. A lot of times and it's just either making a player feel like they have to earn their keep or letting a player understand, hey, you're not bigger than the team. But there's always going to be some type of friction too. Like not everybody's going to like each other. You don't always like who you work with, but oftentimes you do respect that person because you understand you guys are fighting for one goal, one common goal. So it happens more than people probably realize.
Opening day started today, Thursday and Friday here. Um, what are you number one, it's crazy how well Major League Baseball is doing everything. They now have made this deal with Apple TV. Apple TV's in on it now. MLB Network, ESPN. You're going to be involved in some of this stuff. It seems like MLB Network is putting out their product out in the front where all eyes can see them. I'm really excited. Are there any games Thursday or Friday that stick out to you that you're excited to talk about or see?
Yeah, I think I mean, being a former St. Louis Cardinal, just the Albert Pujols factor
No.
of, him having his first game back in St. Louis in which he's wearing a jersey, the Cardinal jersey, back with Yachty, back with Wayno, something magical about that, right? So that was something that I was locked in on. Um, I was locked in on the Red Sox and the Yankees, but that game got postponed. Um, and then the Braves, the Braves coming and knowing that they won it last year, but also understanding that you have a great team, but you have to do it again, right? It last year is done. But this is a new year, new squad. You talked about Freddie Freeman is now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You have Matt Olson. You have a great roster, but
I'm
today's
excited to
the
see
day.
how he works
Like you
with that
start over.
team. I'm so excited to see how Matt Olson works with that team because I know what he provided for Oakland for the last few years, and I was nervous when Freddie Freeman left, but I
Yeah.
think I don't want to say Freddie Freeman can be replaced, but Matt Olson's going to be fun to watch in the Braves lineup.
If somebody could replace a Freddie Freeman, it's going to be Matt Olson.
100%.
Not only offensively but defensively too.
Defensively.
Gold Glover, right? So
Yep.
I mean, you solidify yourself on both sides of the ball right there.
Speaking of the Cardinals, real quick, I was watching the first game today. Two things that stuck out in my mind. Number one, you kind of already hit it on it. It was so cool seeing Pujols in a jersey again. But you got Yadier, Adam Wainwright, and Pujols on a team together again since 2006.
Wow.
And so that it's as a big baseball fan that I am, I don't care who's playing. It was kind of cool to see that. I enjoyed that. And then they got that kid O'Neill. And I even texted you while I was watching the game today saying, hey, look, this is a scary lineup when you got Albert Pujols on deck and they're still like that is a scary lineup top to bottom, St. Louis. And nobody's really talking about them as a favorite to go all the way.
Yeah, I think to your point, I mean the lineup is good. The lineup is and
Nolan Arenado. Yep.
Tyler O'Neill was one of those guys that kind of busts on the scene last year, but I feel like if he does what he did last year and continues upon that same trend, he'll be in that MVP conversation. He's got the power, he's got the defense, good base runner, does a lot of the little things really well. Um, and that's one thing about the Cardinals. They play good defense. They always do the little things. The pitching staff, the loss to Jack Flaherty is going to be big for them. That's their ace, right? If Adam Wainwright doesn't do what he did last year, it's going to be hard to see how far they can go as a rotation. But offensively, defensively, it's all there. Now it's just about the pitching from that foundation standpoint. But to talk about Pujols, I mean, someone that I got a chance to really see coming up. Was extremely influential in my own career. So now seeing him go back to St. Louis is like really special for me to see.
You got a chance to play with him, right?
I didn't play with him, but when I was in the minor leagues, he really mentored me. And then when I got to the big leagues, he had just basically gone over to the Angels.
Oh, oh. So
Yeah, I
you
just
missed
missed
out
him.
playing on him.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, now let's there's a lot of stuff that went down over the last few days. We talked about trades. We talked about, some of these opening day games. Let's talk about some preseason. Well, I can't say preseason. Let's talk about early season predictions. Who
Yeah.
do we think is going to win these divisions? Because we're going to keep the receipt, Xavier, and we're going to hold you to it when we get to the playoffs. And if you're not right, we're going to
Yeah.
get you, man.
I'm
We're
trying to
coming
go
for you.
I'm trying to go back and, like, find to make sure I got my right predictions too, so, um, yeah, man, I think for me, I look at I'll start with the National League, like,
Let's start with the National League. Yep.
The Dodgers, I mean, just a stacked lineup. I feel like they come out of the West. I feel
Hold
like
on. I want to give you mine too. We're going to go back and forth. So you
go
like the
ahead.
Dodgers in the West?
Yes, I like
I
the
like the
Dodgers in the
Padres.
West.
I like the Padres. I think
Okay.
this is the Padres' year to get over that hump. I'm not biased because I think Manny Machado is Jesus in cleats. I love him. Okay, love me some Manny, but I don't know, man. And the other thing too is it's not like the rest of that division isn't hard. There's no real easy team in that division.
No, no, absolutely not. I
Do
mean,
you think San Diego can do it?
but, I I do think they can do it. I think the Dodgers have just been built for it for such a long
Yeah,
period of time. Like,
that's what scares
it's
me.
gonna be hard to take them down, but if anybody does, I think it will be the Padres. I don't think the Giants are gonna do what they did last year. What they did was unbelievable with that roster, so I think it's gonna be tough for them to do that back-to-back years, and the Padres, we talked about it, they're still out here making moves, so, they're gonna go after it.
All right, so you got the Dodgers. I got the Padres. Let's go to the NL Central. Who do you got in the NL Central?
Central, I got the Brewers. That pitching staff, the three-headed monster in that rotation is going to be tough. And they added some offense, so I look at this team taking the Central.
I'm gonna go Cardinals. And the reason I'm going St. Louis is I just think there's gonna be some of that special magic in the air
Yeah,
in St. Louis. And wouldn't it how great, don't you love baseball that couldn't they go out on champions, Yadier, Adam Wainwright, and Albert Pujols?
yeah,
Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be a storybook ending for their careers?
absolutely, absolutely. And if I feel like it happens like that all too often.
It does. So, all right, you got Milwaukee, which, by the way, I like. I like that prediction, and I got St. Louis. We haven't agreed on anything yet. NL East, who do you got? Remember, this is a Miami show. You will get some flack for it, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I was a former Marlin. I would love to say Miami, but I look at the Braves and I'm just like, dude, that is going to be a tough, tough team to beat. So I got them coming out of the East. I really do.
All right, so I know I should say the Marlins, and I want to say the Marlins. My heart wants me to say the Miami Marlins, but I'm gonna say the New
but
York Mets.
but
I will say the New York Mets. I think Buck show. I mean, I got a chance to see Buck Showalter up close and personal in Baltimore for a lot of years, and I saw what he does to a clubhouse, and players respond to him, and players love him. You've interviewed Adam Jones. You know Adam. Adam
yeah,
Adam loves Buck, and so I can only think the biggest reason why the Mets have never been able to quite get over that hump is a manager, and I think Buck is the person to take them to that next level. And look at their. I mean, come on, DeGrom and Scherzer, like that's a tough one too.
yeah,
Every fourth and fifth day.
it is. But DeGrom's going to be out for a while, so it's going to be up to Scherzer and the rest of those
That's
guys
why
in that
it's a
rotation a
marathon.
little
It's not
bit.
a race, Xavier. All right, so we agreed on absolutely nothing there. That's fine. All right, you had Atlanta. I got the Mets. All right, let's go to the AL. We'll start in the East. You are the pregame and postgame guy for the Tampa Bay Rays, so I'm assuming you're gonna say Tampa.
Yeah, I definitely got Tampa coming out of the
Such
East.
a homer. I'm calling you out on it. Such a homer.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. They won 100 games last year. They won the division last year. They haven't really lost any pieces. Um, so I expect to see them win.
You want to know something? I'm going Tampa too because I think they're the best team in the East this year. I look the Yankees. I think tried too hard. I don't think Boston has what it takes as far as pitching is concerned. Um, I think Tampa's the best team in the East this year,
Mm,
100%.
we
Uh,
agree.
we on one. That's one. AL Central. Who do you have for the Central?
Central, I got the White Sox.
Luis Roberts, my prediction for MVP, by the way, for
Oh,
AL MVP.
that's a good pick. That's a good
Yeah.
pick. I like that.
Yeah, I got the White Sox too. I don't see anybody. I definitely don't see the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians.
No. Still
You
hard to
know,
say Guardians.
it is. It's so hard to say it. I was watching the game today, and I'm like, my wife comes in. She's like, "Who are the Guardians?" I'm like, "Well, there was this movie called Major League, and there was another team." No, I'm just messing with you. But it is weird to see them called the Guardians. All right, AL West. Who do you have in the AL West?
The West, I got Houston coming out of there.
Really?
Yeah, I still got Houston. They got most of their roster. You add a Verlander who's looked very good so far. Obviously you do lose Correa, which
Yep.
will play a part. But I still like them better than every other team. I mean, the Mariners, they're gonna be better as far as roster wise. I just don't know if they get over the hump of the Astros yet.
Isn't it weird? Carlos Correa and Byron Buxton are on the same team now.
Yeah, it
The
really
1-2.
is. It
That's
really
so
is.
crazy. I want to say Seattle, but the hype is just like I'm hyped up on Julio. That's what that is. So to me, it comes down to the Angels, Rangers, and Astros. And I don't think the Rangers have what it takes to stay competitive all summer. So it's tough for me to go against Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, man. Like that team, think about all the money they have invested in that team. I think I'm going to go with the Angels over the Astros.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, it's tough against to go get a star-studded Angels lineup, man. Like
crazy good.
They're going to be solid. They're going to be fun to watch.
All right. So who's your World Series prediction?
I got the who do I got? I got the Rays winning the AL pennant, and I got the Dodgers. I got the Rays and the Dodgers, and I think the Dodgers end up winning it this year. I'd like to see Atlanta run it back. I'd like to see the Rays win it, but I just think the Dodgers are just so.
Well, if the Rays win it, you get a Super Bowl ring. You get a World Series ring.
I would hope.
I'm gonna go.
Who you going?
San Diego
Pods.
I think the Pods can do it, man. It's gonna take a lot of luck. Don't get me wrong, and in the AL, I think I got to go with. I got to agree with you. I think Tampa's got what it takes to go all the way. Like they are built for like a long season, and they're built for 7-game series. Like they're not going to be scared of anybody they face.
That's true. That's true. They got so much depth. They got so much versatility, so much athleticism.
They do. So I'm going to go Mariners, Padres World Series. Or I said Mariners, Padres. I meant to say Padres Rays World Series. Padres Rays World. See, I got Julio Rodriguez on my mind, dude. Padres Rays World Series, and Manny Machado is going to win the MVP, and Padres are going to win it all.
Wow.
I'm not a homer at all. I watched Manny Machado play here for years. I just want to see him get the credit that he deserves, and that is top 10 player in the major league.
Yeah. I want to see him ball out too. I want to see him ball.
All right, man. Look, you have a lot of great things coming up. You had a big announcement that happened this week. Tell everybody what you got going on.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with the kind of big announcement. Be running a daily show on MLB Network at 3 p.m. Eastern called Off Base. Excuse me, excited about that. It's kind of like a four-person panel just talking about the ins and outs of the game, what's going on daily. We talking anything from drip, what the players are wearing, to people's tweets, Instagram posts, all those types of things, man. Not just like the numbers all the time, right? We want to talk about like the real stories within the game that people are attracted to. So I'm excited about that. I'll be doing baseball tonight on Sundays before the Sunday night baseball game. So look out for that on ESPN.
Before the K-Rod stuff. I'm excited for that, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that too. And then I'll be doing some, like you mentioned, Rays pregame, postgame stuff That's gonna be fun. I'm still doing the Sirius XM radio in the morning, MLB Network radio. That's a lot of fun. Do it with my guy Steve Phillips, 7 to 10 a.m. But other than that, catch me on the socials, man. I'm trying to be more active on the socials and keep people involved.
I know everybody says when you say Stephen Daniels doing the show with Stephen Daniels, then look, no offense to Steve Phillips, then the show's going to blow up, bro. That's
Yeah.
what we know. Xavier, look, man, I love doing this with you every 2 weeks. I know you're a busy guy. I know we're going to have to maneuver things and make it work, but I hope that this season we can do every couple of weeks and make this work, and it's going to be a lot of fun this year. I
Yeah.
think baseball's got a lot of big stuff on the horizon, and you're going to be such a big part of it. So congratulations on everything, and I'm excited to see you in a couple of weeks.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Keep doing you, and we'll catch up soon.
All right, man. Back to back a baseball segment on the #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers. We'll be right back.